Touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
Hey everyone, welcome into a new week of The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I am your host, Justin Smith, the Scouting and Recruiting Analyst for Touchdown Alabama. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on our YouTube channel. The first thing I need you to do is what I need you to do every time you click on a video on our YouTube channel, and that is hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, subscribers, hit the notification bell, be notified when we drop content on our YouTube channel. I am here each week to break down the latest in Crimson Tide football recruiting news. And on today's episode of The Process, I want to talk about how the Crimson Tide picking up a verbal commitment from four-star quarterback Eli Holstein will impact the Tide recruiting other quarterbacks in this particular recruiting cycle. Will the Tide add another quarterback to their recruiting class? It'll be interesting to see if that comes to fruition, with a couple of other 2023 quarterbacks having official visit dates locked in to visit Alabama on next month. I will also talk about the Tide extending new offers, including a couple of new offers for 2023 and 2024 prospects, and also discuss a couple of updates about top Alabama targets in the 2023 recruiting cycles who are not quarterbacks. But we're going to start today's show by talking about a guy who recently picked up an offer from the Crimson Tide, and I am talking about 2024 defensive lineman Jeremiah Beaman out of Parker High School in Birmingham, Alabama. He picked up the offer from the Crimson Tide on last Friday. I actually had an opportunity to see him in action on last Thursday night when Parker High School took on Hood Trustville for their annual spring game, and Beaman was really impressive. He was making plays all over the field, currently standing at 6'4", weighing 250 pounds. He's a guy with great size, showed great backside pursuit, was making plays down the field, was able to play sideline to sideline, showed he was able to make moves, make plays with his hands in terms of showing an impressive repertoire of rush moves. So I really like what I was able to see from Jeremiah Beaman on Thursday night. Like I said, I saw him in action on Thursday, actually got the offer from the Crimson Tide the next day. The Tide want to dominate the in-state recruiting in the 2023 recruiting cycle. They want to do the same in the 2024 recruiting class as well, and Beaman is one of the reasons why. He's not the only prospect to pick up an offer from the Crimson Tide recently. Nick Saban actually got on the phone and offered 2023 five-star offensive lineman Samson Okunlola out of Massachusetts. With them being a 2023 five-star recruit at this stage in this recruitment, you know his offer list is most likely crazy, and Samson Okunlola's offer list is impressive with more than 45 offers on hand. He does not have a top school list at the moment. He told me that he does have a top 10 in his mind. He wants to move towards narrowing it down in terms of possibly visiting Alabama in the future. He told me he does not have a visit date locked in, but he is interested in visiting Tuscaloosa in the future. He said his relationship with Alabama is relatively new as well. They have only been talking for a couple of months, but his relationship with the Crimson Tide's offensive line coach Eric Wofford is a bit longer. He actually met Wofford when Wofford was on Kentucky's coaching staff. He said that he feels Wofford is a great coach, and he feels Nick Saban has him on staff for a reason. Like I said, Nick Saban did get on the phone and talk with Okunlola about his offer from the Crimson Tide. When I asked Okunlola about Nick Saban, he said that it was great talking with him. He said he was telling him what it was like to what he liked about his game, what it was like to be a player at Alabama. Talked about how the Crimson Tide's football program has set him up to be successful after football is over in terms of his personal life. So he is interested in the Crimson Tide. With them offering at this stage in his recruitment, they are a bit behind some other prospects, so it'll be interesting to see how his recruitment moves forward in terms of his game. Currently standing at 6'5", weighing 295 pounds. He's most likely going to be a tackle at the next level with that frame and with this impressive footwork, which is something that Nick Saban really liked about his game. He is actually used on both sides of the football at Thayer Academy, specifically during the 2021 football season. So it'll be interesting to see if the Crimson Tide can get him on campus. I think that is the thing to look forward to in terms of Alabama pushing hard for Samson Okunlola. I think it's going to really depend on if they can get him on campus soon for unofficial or official visits. So that is going to be something to pay attention to. One of the Crimson Tide's top defensive back targets in the 2023 recruiting class recently released his top 8, and I'm talking about Makari Vickers. He has Alabama in that top 8, which is not a huge surprise because he is scheduled to officially visit Alabama next month during the days of June 16th through June 18th. He has actually visited Alabama a couple of times since the beginning of the year, including making a trip to Tuscaloosa on April 16th to watch the Crimson Tide's annual spring game A-Day. Of course, when you take a look at his top 8, he has Miami, he has Georgia, he has Florida State, he has Oklahoma, he has Oregon, he has Michigan, and he has Texas. Actually has an official visit locked in with Oklahoma as well. So it'll be interesting to watch his recruitment over the next couple of months. I still feel the Tide are in the driver's seat for Makari Vickers, who is a 4-star defensive back out of St. John Paul Catholic High School in Tallahassee, Florida. Whenever I talk about Makari Vickers, I always feel that he's one of the more complete defensive backs in the 2023 recruiting class. So we'll continue to watch his recruitment very closely. Has the Tide in his top 8 heading into a busy June, but heading into an official visit with the Crimson Tide as well during next month. The Tide was recently listed in a top school list released by 4-star defensive end Hunter Osborne out of Trussville High School in Trussville, Alabama. Like I said, I watched Parker High School took on Trussville on last Thursday, which means I also got an opportunity to watch Hunter Osborne in action, and he was really impressive. He towered over most of the competition. He told me they actually got a lot bigger. When I watched him, I was like, yo, you look as if you got, yeah, you look as if you have gotten a lot bigger. And he actually told me that he's weighing close to 265 pounds. So he's currently standing at 6'4", weighing 265 pounds, and he looks the part. Actually was rocking the Alabama gloves in that particular spring game. I had an opportunity to catch up with him and just get an opportunity to touch base with him and learn what he feels his next step is in his recruitment. And he told me that he actually knows when he wants to be committed. At least he knows what date he wants to be committed by. And he told me he wants to be committed before the second game of their season. So that is most likely the end of August, early September. So that is going to be something to pay attention to. He told me that his relationship with Alabama is continuing to grow. He said that their relationship with him is a very strong one. He continued to build his relationship with the Crimson Tide's defensive line coach Freddie Roach actually told me that he talked with Roach earlier that morning. He said that his family is also in contact with them. He wants to possibly officially visit Alabama, but he does not have a date set. He said if he does decide to do so, it will most likely be during the summer. He does have a couple of official visit dates locked in. He will officially visit Clemson on the first weekend in June. He will follow up that official visit on the following weekend with an official visit to Auburn. He also has an official visit date locked in with Tennessee to go through the dates of June 24th through June 26th. So he has those 3 official visit dates locked in. Those schools are also listed in his latest top school list. So we'll continue to watch Hunter Osborne's recruitment. Like I said, he feels his relationship with Alabama's coaching staff is really strong. And like I always say when I'm talking about in-state prospects, especially a guy like Hunter Osborne, who has visited Alabama a couple of times over the last few months, they do not particularly have to take official visits because they have visited so much in the past. So even if he does not get on campus for an official visit, I'm pretty sure he will get on campus at some point for an unofficial visit or to camp. So that is the update I want to provide on Hunter Osborne. Now we're going to switch our focus on the Crimson Tide, picking up a verbal commitment from 4-star quarterback Eli Holstein earlier today. He became the Crimson Tide's 4th verbal commit in the 2023 recruiting class, their first offensive player, and of course the first quarterback to commit to the Crimson Tide. But it looks as if the Tide are not totally closing the door, possibly adding another quarterback, with Arch Manning having an official visit date locked in to visit Alabama next month, which was revealed on last week. So it is going to be interesting to see if Alabama actually pursues picking up another quarterback. Like I said, they have done it in the past during the Nick Saban era. The most recent time was when the Tide signed both Talia Tagovailoa and also Paul Tyson in the same class. So it looks as if the Tide are going to continue to stay in contact with some of the other quarterbacks in the 2023 recruiting cycle who they have been recruiting alongside Eli Holstein. Of course, Manning is one of those prospects, but he's also looking at other programs outside of Tuscaloosa. When you take a look at Texas, Georgia, also, I'm pretty sure programs like Ole Miss are still involved as well. Texas is going to be one of those teams who are going to continue to fight for Manning until the end. With the Tide picking up a verbal commitment for Holstein, you have to think that Arch Manning is definitely going to at least look at that. Some prospects say it doesn't matter, I want to come to this school. So I think if Arch Manning commits to Alabama, it really points to the fact that the Tide really impressed him and he really feels at home in Tuscaloosa, and the Crimson Tide's coaching staff did a really good job if he's willing to come alongside another quarterback. So I don't think the Tide is going to totally close that door, and they're not going to turn Arch Manning away if he wants to commit alongside Eli Holstein, along with Dylan Lonergan, another quarterback of the Tide, are also recruiting, who, like Manning, has an official visit date locked in with the Crimson Tide. And if the Tide really want to take a commitment from Dylan Lonergan, he wants to come on board, I think that is something that is possible. But the Tide, I don't think they're going to close the door on that possibility. Taking two signal callers, Nick Saban's goal for every recruiting class is to at least add one guy. They did add a quarterback with Eli Holstein on today, but we're going to have to keep a close eye on if the Tide will continue to push hard for both of those guys. All signs point to them continuing to do so, continuing to try to build relationships with both Dylan Lonergan and Arch Manning. Arch, of course, the consensus #1 player in the 2023 recruiting class. But that is the update I wanted to provide on the Crimson Tide's push possibly for another quarterback. Like I said, they are not turning their back on, they're not turning down that ideal entirely. Did provide an update about a couple of other Alabama 2023 targets. When you take a look at Makari Vickers and also Hunter Osborne, and touch on a couple of guys to know with new offers, and Samson Okunlola and also Jeremiah Beaman, the 2024 defensive lineman out of Parker High School in Birmingham, Alabama. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on our YouTube channel. Before you leave, if you did not do it before the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, subscribe to the notification bell, be notified when we drop content on our YouTube channel. Then head to our website, touchdownalabama.com. Be sure to pick up your subscription to our website. With that subscription, you will be able to read all of our subscriber only articles, get your hands on our yearly print magazine issue as well. Then head over to the Apple App Store if you have an Apple device to download the Touchdown Alabama app. It is also located in the Google Play Store if you have an Android device as well. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama.
Process.